Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Get in Tune. First off, I just want to apologize for not having the countdown. It seems the software I'm using doesn't have the countdown in it right now. Anyway, guys, uh, thank you for coming on, and let me just edit this. Is it? Uh, yes, that looks more correct for me. I know it looks weird, but the Mario's on my left side, so I need that. Even though it looks right to you, I need it that way. Um, so anyway, welcome to Get in Tune tonight. I'm Michael Gracia. I got a really great show planned. But before we get into it, always the quick notes. Number one, if you you can go to boldventurepress.com or on amazon.com and look up Zorro's Swordplay and Romance or Zorro's Exploits. I illustrated some stories in them. In this one, just one, Zorro's Exploits. I did two. Don't forget, you can go to Amazon as well and pick up the complete 2023 collection of The Whimsical Whiz, my comic strip, which I ended at the beginning of this year. You can get all the comics plus some bonus pages in here. There's a new book I'm currently working on of 2024 with extra strips that people haven't seen before. That's in there. And don't forget, where'd it go? I just had it. akidinacomic.com, a newspaper completely devoted to comics. All right. All independent creators. Some actually well known in the industry. And in the center here, usually in the center area, you will find the Wiz. He's right there. So don't forget, you can get that at kidinacomic.com. Zorro's Exploits and Zorro's Swordplay and Romance from Bold Venture Press and The Whimsical Whiz. And now tonight, I have got a really great guest. Somebody who I've known for a very long time. And he's now doing some really cool work. He's working on a project called Animation Versus. He will be talking about that. But let me bring on Charles William Valentin II. And you are right over here. There you are.
Hello.
Hello. Did I say your name correct this time?
Yes, you did. I believe you did. Yes.
All right. I'm sorry. I'm always bad with names. My audience knows that for a fact. I do apologize if I screw up. So, Charles, first off, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I was just looking for it. I myself picked up a copy of your Wiz 2023 book.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the month that it went live. No joke. I don't know where it is. I have a huge bookshelf to my left, so it's lost in there, but I have it.
I am totally honored. I'm totally honored for that. I hope you enjoyed it.
I definitely did. I'm kind of upset that it's kind of on a little hiatus right now.
Well, I've wanted to do other work, and having the schedule to do a weekly comic and not, I didn't have like a good grace period under my belt, and so I was like, the strip came out every Wednesday. Most Tuesday nights, I was working till 1 a.m. on it, and I'm like, okay, I can't do this. I can't continue if I want to get ahead. Plus, I have other stories in my head that I've been wanting to tell, and I'll just, I said it on my show a couple times, but I've been wanting to do kind of like, I've been inspired a lot looking at old retro shows I liked as a kid. And, I grew up on a lot of anime like Voltron, Battle of the Planets, Voltes 5, I loved all that stuff. And I've always had like a giant robot story in my head. And I'm like, it's time it comes out. And so I did a small like 7-page preview a while ago, but it wasn't manga. It was kind of cartoony, almost like a Butch Hartman like type of getting comedic in there. And I'm like, that's not really what I want with it. So I stopped showing it around to people. And what I said was, I want to take that influence that I had and really, bring that to life. So even though, and the anime style's kind of always been in my own drawing, like comic style, because I grew up on these shows. That's what I drew and copied as a kid,
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, it's just going to be a little bit to kind of go back to bring that to life. Cause I'm like, I could draw modern day stuff, but I'm like, no, I want it to really feel retro. So I'm doing, actually, eventually it'll be 3 stories that kind of take place in the late 70s, early 80s. So I have one story about a character, and they travel around in an RV. So I've been researching RVs, and I've actually become addicted to YouTube videos of tiny house conversions on like vans and stuff. And I'm like, I feel that might be my future now. And so like I have all this like stuff, and and back then, if you watch like the old shows like Chips and everything that came out of that era, for a while everything was about motorcycles. So I made sure this kid rode a motorcycle in the story,
and it just had that same like vibe. And
I want everything to feel like it's a late 70s, early 80s story.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that's what I've been playing with. And one of the things, and I don't know, and I'm sure you know this, but a lot of people who do like manga work, they look at it as a drawing style, and it's not. It's a storytelling style. So I'm really trying to make sure I hit the points in my script that make it feel more of a manga than of just an American comic, and I've had to go in and edit a few times because I've been writing American style for so long.
Yeah. It's a completely different style.
Yeah. So it's been very interesting. Anyway, let's get to you. All right. Okay. Let's that's enough about me. People know I talk a lot anyway. So for those who don't know who you are, please tell my audience who you are and what you do. And
okay.
Yeah,
I got you. So my name is Charles Valentin. I am actually a former student of yours in the College of CW.
Mm-hmm.
And I am a producer for the YouTube channel Animators versus Games. Mm-hmm. And from there on in, I'm also the producer of an upcoming webtoon original called Primoral Descent. And I'm also the producer of Animation Versus, an upcoming fighting game. So
nice.
Even though I'm a producer, I'm pretty much like a jack of all trades. So I've edited videos, I've like run social media channels. I've pretty much run the AVG channel. Like my bosses joke all the time that I'm their boss because I tell them what to do all the time. I'd hit them up. I'm like, hey, you guys have to record today. Sorry. So that's pretty much who I am in terms of like what I do.
And don't forget, in addition to being my student, you were also an intern of mine for a little bit.
Yes, I was. I definitely was. I was your intern for a couple months. And I still to this day remember going with you to Atlantic City Comic-Con.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. That was a good, well, I won't say it was a good show. The problem, and I don't knock shows, but the problem with the shows in Atlantic City is Atlantic City, outside of going to the actual casinos, it's not really an area that has disposable cash.
No.
But and that's the issue with those type of shows. I've heard shows in Atlantic City get shut down. Like they're like, we're not even gonna. It's supposed to be a weekend show, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna close down today, maybe early, and everyone can go home, and not.
Yeah, I remember because when we went, there was like they had like every Batman car lined up, and it like looked super cool, and it was like the show floor was huge, and then it's like you stumbled upon like 1 or 2 people like every aisle you went through. It was so like it was a good convention if you were looking to buy stuff because you didn't have to worry about things selling out or anyone being in your way. But
absolutely, and that's where I got to meet Jess Harnell, who is the voice of Wacko Warner, and he's done tons of stuff. But that is one of my. I don't go nuts meeting celebrities usually. I'm actually friends with a few people who are like celebrities in the convention circuit, and they're friends of mine. I don't I could joke around with them. But meeting Jess was such an honor for me because when I think I was 15, 16 years old, Animaniacs came out.
Yeah.
And I was getting ready to start applying to colleges, and I was still, teaching myself animation, and that was a big influence on how I was thinking about humor at the time, and he was one of my favorite. Wacko was always one of my favorite characters on the show, so it was very interesting. And I remember he owned some of my work, by the way. He didn't pay for it. I just gave it to him. But he stopped by my table and he's like, "That's really cool. Come see me later." And when it died down, I went to see him. It was towards the end of the show. And he was like, "You didn't bring your book." So I went back and got my book of prints and things. And he was like, "I like this. I like this." And it turns out he was a big Adam West Batman fan. I had some Adam West style pieces in there. And he asked for him, and then in return he signed over a couple of pictures for me, and I'm like, that was like one of the coolest moments for me. But yeah, no, it was a good show in the sense of networking. There were a lot of great people there, but Atlantic City isn't the place for conventions.
Definitely not.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, but thanks for coming to that. That was a fun time.
No,
I was doing trying to think. Like I remember I had you bordering out pages or something.
Yeah. You had me doing a lot of like line art and line work.
Yeah, the grunt work that I didn't want to do. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I remember it. Like it took me like a week to like start getting used to like your line art style, because at the time it was like very different from like mine, because I was so used to like working with like thin microns, and you had like more of like a brush, like thin to thick, thick to thin.
Yeah, I was very classically trained, and at that point was really on brush pens than like dip pens, but I was taught on dip pens and brushes and things. Anyway, so getting back to it. So before we get into what you do now, can you talk about some of your influences? What inspired you to get into art, and how are you using those influences today in what you do?
Oh man, what got me into art? That's good. It's tough because it's like I had a cousin who, like, not to get like too deep into it, like he was the classic into anime, into games, into comics. Like he was into anything that he would like deem cool. And I grew up a lot with him. So like when I was looking, I was always trying to like see, what's he looking at now? So he like introduced me into comics. Like I was reading a lot of Marvel, Spider-Man, Avengers, and he introduced me into anime. And then I was like, oh, this looks cool. Like that guy killed that guy like by setting him on fire. Like that was very different for me as a kid.
Yeah.
And then like just certain games and stuff. So it's like I grew up into all those things, and just being surrounded by so much like creative work, because that's at the end of the day what all that is. It's just like different types of storytelling and different art and stuff just naturally made me want to like tell my own stories and get into art myself. So like it's hard to see, like you can see some of my influences in the office, but like I have 2 bookshelves here covered with things that inspire me. And like even on my desk I always have like a manga on hand of like things that like.
What are you reading there right now?
I'm a really big fan of an old manga called Bleach.
Yep.
And it's just because it's like, oh wow, I happen to open right into it. It's just certain panels, the way they like show movement.
I've only read the first 3 books of that. I had a guest on here, a friend of mine, Emily Ree, and she draws, like, and does like a manga. She has a, I think it's on webtoons. I don't remember the name right now. I'd have to look it up. But it's basically the story is, what if you went and played tag in a cemetery and strange crap started happening to you guys
Oh, that's
playing the
scary.
game. Yeah, so it's a very interesting story. But she told me Bleach was her favorite. She's like, you got to try it. I said, okay, I'll give it a try. And I bought the collection, the first 3 together, and I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, this was really good. That I bought the next 3, together, and I just haven't read that one yet, but it's on my shelf behind me there. Anyway, I'm sorry. Continue.
It's so funny though, because if you like the first 3 volumes,
Mhm.
like those end up being like a lot of people's least favorite.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good setup to a story.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I haven't read more, so I can't tell you if it's my least favorite yet.
Okay. Definitely when you read more, let me know.
Absolutely.
But like besides that, it's like same thing. Like even like certain games, like I bought the Japanese version of F-Zero
Okay.
because I just think the style of it's really cool. Game pretty much has no story, but I just think like it's very superhero. Have you ever seen like like Captain Falcon and stuff?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And if you ever see the rest of those characters, they're like super colorful and stuff. So like things like that. Like I always just try to have that like near me. And it's like with the stories that I want to tell with my artwork, it's like I love bold lines, like super saturated colors, and it's because the things I read are exactly that. The things I play are exactly that. Like I love Mario, I love Sonic, and it's because they're super colorful characters, they're super fun. Sometimes they can be deep, but they can be as fun, like with as deep as they get,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Oh, I can see that. I can see that's I don't look in that way like you're talking, because I'm colorblind. I don't know if you remember. So
yeah.
for me, I don't approach it in the way you're talking about. I like the saturated color. That means nothing to me. I understand the concept.
Yeah, but it's hard for you to like relate to
understand the colors, but I do get the. I have a big Mario over on the side there. I don't know. So there he is. So he hangs out with me in here all day. But yeah, it's I enjoy the characters myself, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
Okay, so you grew up loving like these games, these characters. What got you into like actually saying, I'm going to start making art?
Probably my cousin, because he was drawing too. So it was just one of those things that like he influenced me, and I started drawing like when I was in grade school. I didn't think much of it. Like I never really practiced as much as I should have.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very open with that. And it wasn't until like college where I started getting into like the real like storytelling side of it, of like, okay, I draw these characters. I've been drawing them since high school. I have this guy with like the classic spiky hair, big sword. I have like this cool villain who's super muscular. Oh, he's this, he's that, and that's it, right? But it wasn't until like really like college where I started like thinking, like with classes like yours. Pretty sure you still, I don't know if you still talk to him, but another professor, Mr. Ryan, like you guys were great.
We still talk,
yeah, great.
Not like we used to, but yeah,
you guys have been great influences in terms of like making me think about art in a different way. Because I remember too, like I never really like experimented with my art until college, when I saw like different things that people were doing. Like I started like practicing a comic book style, even though like I don't think I want to lean super hard in that. Like just practicing it.
Well, I do remember in my classroom, and I always had issues with the students for this, but I used to try to not have them draw in that manga Asian style, because my idea is I'm training you for the real world. It's not what every studio wants. I want you guys to be versatile and be able to draw in a variety of different styles. And it made the students think I hated all that stuff, which is further from the truth.
Yeah, but it's not the case.
Yeah, it's but that was good, because you like listened to Mr. Ryan and myself and others, and was like, this is, if I want to work, I need to learn how to do a bunch of different things.
So. And it's like, even if like you're diehard, like, I want to draw anime, like that's it, that's all you want to do. There's nothing wrong with like practicing other stuff, because the more what I've learned through that is the more you learn in other styles, the more you can like bring it back. Like the more, especially like if you learn just something as simple as like anatomy, that like I've seen a lot of artists, like young artists, just like not think about. Like the more you're able to like build a human body, it's so much easier to just break it. And then you can like do anime, you can get into cartoons, you can get into like horror, and it's because you just have that like basic understanding.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you spent some time over here, and then about 3 years ago, you decided to make the leap and go out to California.
Yep.
So first off, talk to me about what made you want to go out there, and then how was it in the beginning, and what led you into getting work in the field?
Yeah. So I knew when I started taking my art like more serious in college, I knew that New York, just growing up in New York, as much as I love New York, it wasn't the right place to be. I started learning like New York is really about like graphic design and fashion when it comes to art. It's not really like comic book game design. Like I never knew exactly what I wanted to do. I just knew I wanted to be creative somewhere. So at the time, my lovely wife, Victoria, she wanted to move to California because she wanted to take up animation. And I was like, you know what? Perfect. Like that makes sense for her. And that would probably make sense for me. I know when it comes to video games and comics, California is definitely a much better place than New York. Mm-hmm. So we both took the gamble. We came here. And in the beginning, like the first year was a little like tricky. And it's just because naturally, like when you make a jump like that, you don't really necessarily know where to look sometimes, and especially like if you're inexperienced, like you can send your resume to a bunch of places, but that doesn't necessarily like guarantee anything.
Yeah.
So 1 year, I think it was our first year here, we decided to go to a convention called Lightbox Expo. Have you ever heard of that?
I have. I was supposed to go to it, not this past one, the one before, but I couldn't get out there.
Okay.
But yeah, I've never been, but I hear it's amazing.
Yeah, it is. I think it is a great place, whether you are a student who wants to get into the industry, doesn't matter your age, or you are someone who's in the industry and you're looking for students, or like any combination of that. If like you're someone who's in the industry and you want to talk to other people in the industry, if you're a student and you want to talk to other students, like it is such a great place for artists, specifically in the animation industry, but just artists in general. When we went there that year, I went there with the expectation of like not getting anything because I didn't bring any business cards. I didn't bring a portfolio. At the time, I wasn't really working on my art. Like I just finished entering a webtoons contest to write a short story. I entered it. After it, I could go back on that webtoons in a second, but didn't really expect much out of it. Just entered it and didn't think I was going to get a job at Lightbox. So before we ended up talking to these big studios, or at least my wife started talking to these big studios and showing them their portfolio, we decided to just like, let's just talk around. Let's talk to other artists. Let's see what's going on. And we saw this booth for a guy named DJ Welch, who at the time haven't heard of him. And approached him, was like, hey, what's up? Like, what's going on? Like, oh, what do you do? And we started talking. And then he mentioned that he had a YouTube channel called Animators versus Games. I was like, oh, that's so cool. Like, what kind of games do you guys play? He was like, oh, yeah, we play like little like indie games and like little, like games that most YouTubers wouldn't play. Okay. And once he said that, I was like, oh, you guys should really play this game. This is a really good game because I was just playing it last night. Oh, and then after that, you guys should like play this. And then maybe you guys should like do this. Like these are games that are like really, really good. And I just started rambling. And then he just turned to me and he was like, you want a job? And I said, yeah. What are you looking for? He's like, want to help run our YouTube? And I said, sure. And from there on in, like I helped out their YouTube channel. I've been a part of their YouTube channel for think like 3 years now, or
Wow.
like 2.5 years. And I did a good enough job that he's keeping me around in every project he starts, like his webtoons and the game that's now coming out, the Kickstarter. So I've been very, very fortunate that that happened,
Yeah.
because most people would probably not get that lucky, honestly. But yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at now, how I got there. And it's been a very fun journey, and I'm very appreciative for like all that.
Yeah, that's amazing because, you know, as I've said this before, but when I always taught, I always told people go to conventions. That's you got to make your connections. For being in New York, where we were, New York Comic Con is the biggest
Yeah.
convention around here, and I remember I'd always have students, like when tickets went on sale, I would stop class so you could buy tickets because it was important for you guys to go to there in
Yeah.
my eyes, to go make the connections. And it's the same thing, Lightbox, what's the other one? CTN, if that's still going on. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, there's conventions for every type of job out there, basically, for every fandom, for whatever. And going to things like panels, all those have panels there. And just going up and talking to people. But it's interesting that you got a gig from it, because a lot of times when people just talk at shows, yeah, you make connection, then it turns out jobs always fall through. So it was really
Yeah.
really cool, and I'm thrilled that you were able to do that.
Yeah.
And now you've been with them for about 2.5 years, which is great. You're working on every project, and I remember you telling me, and I know you just mentioned it, but there's a webtoon project going on. You want to talk a little bit about webtoons? Then we're going to focus on this Kickstarter here that you guys
Yeah.
are doing.
Yes. So I can't, in regards to his webtoons,
Hmm.
I definitely can't say much on it because there's obviously a lot of like NDA kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
But it's a webtoons original. Honestly, I've told him this. I've told like the rest of the team this. We have some crazy talent on the team, and I think that this webtoons can absolutely like change the status quo for like webtoons.
Wow.
And like I'm not saying that lightly as like, oh yeah, this is just like a nothing comic. Like I truly believe this can be like some arcane Avatar: The Last Airbender, where
Wow.
it's like when it comes out, like when an issue comes out, it's like you have to catch up.
Well,
So
I'm going to need to know when it comes out, because I actually do spend a bit of time on Webtoon. I I go on it usually once or twice a week, and I'll
yeah,
read for about an hour each time. You know, um, just because of scheduling, I gotta do stuff. But yeah, usually on a weekend, on like a Saturday morning, Sunday morning, my cup of coffee, my iPad, and I'm just on there.
yeah. And so webtoons is such like an underrated format almost too. Like I don't see a
Yeah,
lot of people saying like, oh, I want to do like webtoons, but it's like if you really look at, you can find some like really good
yeah.
like stories
You
on it.
know, as someone who's worked in publishing in comics, I've been doing it since '97. That's when I started. And I've been through the convention circuit. I've been through paying for, when I used to have to buy books by the thousand and be lucky that I could sell 100 books through a couple of shows. Like, I just remember that time period. Um, Going through it, I think, you know, digital is really, a lot of people are trapped in the old method. Oh, I need a book. I need to do this.
Yeah.
I think building an audience could be much more important, you know, and
Hmm.
developing that webtoon, because once you get that fan base, then you could sell to them later.
Yeah.
But it's, people are devouring everything on their iPad, on their phones, on, you name it. If it's a digital device, they have it and they're using it to get information. And for the comic fans, that's going on things like webtoons,
Yeah.
you know. So I think it's great. Now, you had a webtoon for a little bit. You want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, it's called Tag, A Tale of Negative, and it's essentially a very short story on a world that I've built, that I've been writing literally since high school, college, and it's kind of like a little peek into that world. It's not necessarily like it doesn't truly follow the main character, the main villain, but it's just a nice part of it. Uh, as of now, I have no plans to continue it because I did enter a webtoons canvas
Mm-hmm.
competition for that comic. I think the prompt was call to action, and they
Okay.
wanted to see a hero have to answer a call to action.
Yeah.
So it fit perfectly in my world. Decided to do it. It was arguably the most stressful 4 months of my life because I severely underestimated how much work goes into something like that when you have to not only like draw the comic, you have to like plan out, you pretty much have to storyboard it, you have to plan out the story, you have to sketch it, then line art, then color,
Yeah.
then like come back and enhance those colors. And then by the time we were done, because I had Victoria help me out with it, by the time we were done, I found out that the comic was twice the panel limit. So I had to separate it into two
Oh,
pieces, and only the first half entered the competition.
wow.
So
That's amazing. That is amazing. Yeah, no, it's a tough thing. Like I said, just doing the whiz one a week, and I was doing like 3-4 panels. It's
yeah,
just a time consuming piece. And like when you were my intern, unfortunately, the books that I was working on never came out, and that was due to other reasons. A lot of it being health reasons for me, which is why I haven't put out a lot of stuff over the years. But yeah, no, I'm excited to go, and I'm thinking Webtoon is going to be my you know platform of distribution for that. I'm sorry, did it was your phone just ringing? Do you need to get it or
no, I don't know. I was shut off my phone. I
no? No.
just checked. It's nothing
Okay,
important, honestly.
all right. No, because I just got I was hearing like a vibration. I'm like my phone wasn't going off, so
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that my mic picked that up.
good mic.
Oh, $100. It better be good.
Yeah. Mine was what, 20 or $30, I think, that I use here. Anyway, so okay, so you did all this stuff. Now you're working for Animation versus Games, and I'm sorry, your boss's name again is what?
Yes, my boss's name. I have two bosses.
Okay,
Main boss, DJ Welch.
okay,
He's an artist who's been in the industry for like I believe 15 or 20 plus years.
okay.
Around there, worked at Blizzard, Lucasfilms, Facebook, Instagram. Like if it's a company in media, he's worked it most likely. And then my other boss is a well-known YouTube animator. I'm not sure if you've heard of him. Are you familiar with someone called Alan Becker?
I know the name. I'd have to see the work to know if I'm familiar with their work.
Okay. Most people have trouble remembering his name,
Hmm.
but they know his work. Have you 2007 like Newgrounds days? Have you
Okay,
ever seen those videos of stick figures fighting each other?
absolutely.
Okay, so he is the guy for stick figures fighting each other.
Okay, I'm just looking up Alan Becker right now. This is his. Okay, I'm just looking at his stuff. It looks like something I've seen before.
Yeah. You probably might not recognize his newer stuff, but definitely like if you went back to like his old like original animation versus animator like videos, you probably like
Yeah.
recognize it.
And I used to spend a lot of time on Newgrounds. I used to do flash animations and stuff years ago. So
Yeah.
that was all right. Let's bring on. Hold on. There. Just Rodriguez says, "Look, Charlie, man, so inspirational."
Funny enough, that's the cousin that got me into everything that I'm into.
Very nice. Well, congratulations and thank you, Joseph, for doing that.
Yeah, no, seriously, thank you, Joey. I would definitely not be where I'm at today, honestly.
All right. So this is the Kickstarter, which is fully funded.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't even tell you the amount over. I mean, over $500,000 more than it needed, which is great. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you, thank you.
Sorry, just let me move this out of the way. It was hitting my mouse. So yeah, I mean, I have issues hearing sound when I play. It's a Mac thing and these streaming services. I do want to try to play it. Let me know if you hear the sound. If you don't, I'll just make sure people go here to watch it. Okay.
Okay, I'll tell you right now. No, I do not hear any sound. It's also, I don't know if it would help, but it is also on YouTube. We have
Yeah,
the
it's
trailer
not gonna help me right now. Unfortunately, these streaming sites that, whether you're using StreamYard, Restream, whatever it is, when you do this on a Mac, there's always an issue playing sound out loud. The best way to do it is if I had the video sent to me and I didn't think of asking you, and then I just uploaded it to here and played it from there. But let's go in and talk about what this is. Wow, you did this in 5 hours. That's amazing. Amazing. It's been a few days since I looked at your page, so I might be surprised again at stuff here. But talk to me about like what this is, what all this is. What is the Kickstarter specifically for? And while we're doing that, I am going to drop the link to it here in the comments so people watching can go to it.
Yeah. So where Animation Versus is, it is a fighting game / video game based off of Alan Becker's work. So Animator versus Animation, Animation versus Minecraft, all those. And I know for a fact my bosses, DJ and Alan, they've been trying to get a game off the ground for the longest. And it wasn't until they ended up playing a mod for another game called Rivals of Aether, in which there was a modder named Muno who took one of Alan's characters and added him to the game. And it was the yellow one with the laptop. Okay. That guy, yeah, yellow. And they ended up playing the game for the channel. Video blew up. And Alan and DJ were so taken away by like the quality of that mod, because the animations were great. Like it was straight out of like one of Alan's episodes. That same way that that DJ turned to me and was like, "Hey, do you want a job? Like, because you kind of know what you're talking about." Same thing with Muno, where they went to him and was like, "Hey, would you want to make a game for us? You clearly like know what you're doing." And yeah, we've been working on it for a year now. And the team right now is very small. I think it's like 8 people, but it's just like with the comic for Primoral Descent, very, very talented team. Like I do not think the Kickstarter would be as successful if one of us was replaced. Like every single person who's on that team has made this game like the success that it is, like truly. And yeah, it's a Kickstarter that like we were kind of anxious at first if it was gonna do well, but as you can see, like it's crushing it.
Yeah,
and like we're super excited like for this game, honestly.
Yeah, no, it looks exciting. So the game overview. So this is really what the game is about here.
Yeah.
And I'm just giving it a quick read. So it's basically it's like you said, it's a fighting game with the stick figures for the most part. Now gameplay here. Our goal with the game is to bring together aspects of different kind of fighting games. So can you talk to me a little bit about that? Like, I mean, I could sit here and read what you're talking about, but just looking at these backgrounds, I played fighting. I grew up, I go back to the original, like Atari crap.
Yeah.
And I had the first Nintendo. I had, I'm the era where I grew up with all the systems, so I've been playing fighting games forever.
Yeah, so like the classics like Street Fighter and
Fighter.
Mortal Kombat, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's what the backgrounds are reminding me of a little bit. Is that something that was specific to what you guys wanted to do? Is pay tribute, emulate? Like what was that?
So we're trying to emulate like the best in fighting games. It's really hard to pinpoint one particular fighting game and be like that's what Animation Versus is, because it's not. Like if you played it, you would understand better, but it's like it's a combination of everything that makes every fighting game works, and it makes such a unique experience that it's like it's super hard to put into words. It plays great. You can see it, like it has some platform fighter elements, so you can see like some Smash Brothers in it, right?
Yeah,
But compared to just falling off of a platform, especially if you're a new player or if you don't play games, falling off a platform is always the worst, because it's like you don't properly know how to like recover from that. So I know our game designer Muno, he really, really wanted to like take inspiration from Smash, but definitely like keep it more of a traditional 2D fighters with like health bars, and introduce the gimmick of, hey, your health bar can hit 0, but you can get knocked out if you're not too careful, which is what you're seeing like in this little GIF over here.
yeah.
So everything definitely played a factor. The backgrounds and the like art style of the game is taken purely out of Alan's animations.
Okay.
So we can't directly be like, oh yeah, like the street background is like from Street Fighter. It's like, oh, because in AVA episode, oh, I'm gonna get it wrong, it's either 9 or 11, there's like a huge city that's introduced, and like though it's not one for one, definitely these streets are inspired by that city.
Yeah.
I know the location in the bottom is a very, very crucial location for one of the episodes, and where like the villain was going to use like those ports to like unleash like a bunch of viruses into the internet, so we're trying to keep it as close to Alan's animations as possible, while like paying tribute here and there, like where we can.
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, it's beautiful work, very smooth animation. Now, all the animation is done by Alan, or is
No, Alan hasn't touched any of the animation. It's mainly done by our lead game designer Muno, but we hired someone a couple months ago named Bar, who's another modder for the Rivals of Aether community, and they've both just been like crushing it.
awesome.
They're the only two like animators who are like really like working on like the main character animations. We also got a background artist named Fabi, who's really, really talented. He's done all the background. You can see he's like nailed like the parallaxing.
Let's check out down here while he's talking. I'm sorry, continue.
Yeah, and other than that, we have a sound guy who works for Alan named Igor. He's great. And then we have Skim, who's a writer for Alan, and he's like helping write a story for this game, which this game is going to have its own unique story. And we're trying to make it as if you're watching one long episode of one of Alan's animations. So, and it's also going to might feature, can't directly say, but it might have some new characters. So that's going to be fun, and I may have had a huge hand in helping design one of them. So I'm excited for that one.
That's cool. Well, congrats on that. And this is so it's going to be available. It's just going to be a Steam game.
As of now, we do plan on making ports. Obviously, I think with how well the Kickstarter is doing, most likely going to happen. It's just tough to like confirm some things because you just never know, especially in the game industry. Like we don't want to like promise like, yeah, you know, it's going to come out for this console, and then one of these companies just decide like, we're going to give you trouble, you know, like for one reason or another. So we definitely want to like spread out our reach as much as possible, you know, possibly create even a mobile version. Might be like a more limited version of the game, but we definitely want to try to get it out like everywhere.
Yeah, no, that's great. I used to, well, I haven't really played a lot of games, honestly, since I was like 18, a little after. My first job was character design for a educational software company. So I was designing characters for video games as my first job. And I love the process behind making games so much. I kind of stopped playing games within 2 years of having that job. But the one thing I would always go back to every now and then were fighting games.
Yeah.
Because for me, it was a great way to get anger out. Like you come home and this had nothing to do with you, but you come home from a bad day of teaching.
Oh yeah.
And you know, there's a certain character becomes a certain student, and because you can't do it in real life, right?
Yeah. It also it just feels also so like rewarding, like when you win, you know, like you can see I'm a huge fan of fighting games. If you look behind me, I got a whole Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Like
I was going to ask you what that was. I don't have room in my place for any of those things. Yeah.
Yeah, the moment I moved over here, I got it because I had the space for it.
Yeah, I don't have the space for it, or a wife who wants one. So that's it's more the latter. I could totally make space if I wanted to.
I told Victoria that like I wanted like a room full of these. She's like, you're getting one. And I said, you know what? I'll take it. And I had to think really hard about which one I wanted, but ended up with this one. So
yeah, no, I get it. You know.
So yeah, the Kickstarter is out. I think we have 2 weeks left. We more than crushed our goal, which is really exciting because, you know, like a story mode and like a roguelite mode, like we're trying to make sure that like whether you're a super hardcore fighting game fan or you're just like a casual gamer who like wants to just spend some time like playing something, like no matter what kind of gamer you are, like this is going to be a fun time.
Yeah.
And that was definitely our goal with this. And I think just playing it from what I played, we've hit it gameplay wise, story mode wise, extra game mode wise. I have no doubt that we're going to hit that.
Yeah. So. No, I think. Listen, you guys. I got to be honest. I didn't remember when like I said, it's been a few days since I've been on the page. I did not remember that you were funded in 5 hours. You know, like that shocked me when I saw it the other day. Like I think I looked at it on Friday or Saturday. You know, like prepping and getting myself ready and stuff. And I was like, that's amazing. That really is. I mean, number one, it you know, I've seen lots of Kickstarter. My whole show is a lot of times about Kickstarters. You know, it's really about promoting indie creators, usually in comics. But I bring indie filmmakers on, I've had a couple of indie game people on in the past, like years ago. But they're usually more like tabletop people, like D&D guys and stuff like that. But it says a lot about the look of the work, the people behind it, how much, you know, passion is put into this, that people saw what you were doing and saw that this was definitely worth what you were asking for. And you know, I wish I could back it, but you know, on the low end here, it's 150, and that's a little out of my.
No, that's definitely not the lowest. I think it's 30. That's the featured tier because that's like the you get everything tier. You know.
Oh, I apologize. I didn't read that well, but yeah, no, but that one. I try to back as many Kickstarters as I can. I have a rule: as long as I have the money, I'll back it. Usually it's comics, like I said, that's what I focus on, and I
Yeah.
usually do the digital ones this way. It's the lowest thing, and I could give to more Kickstarters. But yeah, no, I'm gonna really go through this because you said you end on the 23rd. I don't know
20 or 20. I think you could go up a little and it might say it. I believe it says it on the main page.
Let's go up. It says 14 days to go.
It doesn't say the actual
Yeah.
day. Yeah, so it should be like the 23rd.
Yeah. And what was I going to say? Yeah, no. So I mean, it gives me time to think about it, but this looks very, very fun.
Yeah, the team is like super passionate. Like one thing I definitely love about this team, and it kind of goes back to my main boss DJ. It's like he's really big into letting people be creative and letting people do what they're good at, you know?
Yeah.
So I can tell you right now, so if you like scroll up, like our main artwork for the game that you're like seeing on like the side, and then like if you go up and like see the main spread where it has like all the characters, I think it's a little bit more up.
A little more.
Yeah, just a little bit. Or maybe it's a lot of bit, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, keep going. Oh yeah. Okay, so that main spread that you see right there,
right here.
and then all the art you're seeing into the side, that is art from a really, really talented artist named Io. And we discovered her because in our team in AVG and even in our video game Discord, like for this project, we're constantly sharing fan art between each other. Io is a fan of Alan, who we saw their work and we messaged them and we were like, yo, your work is good. Would you want to do some promotional art for the game? And they said, yeah, you know, and that kind of mentality of just like giving artists a chance or like hiring who we can is like, it shows in everything that we do, which, and as someone who worked like retail most of my life, like is a nice change of pace in terms of like letting people be themselves and like really giving people a chance. Like for the comic Primoral Descent webtoons, we have our main storyboarder is a guy named Liam. He is so talented. He's one of the most like, can't even put into words, right? And he was stuck working on a show that he didn't like, you know, like that wasn't his style.
Yeah.
You know, he sent a portfolio in and it was so completely different from his normal work that it called my attention. It called DJ's attention. We were like, yo, let's talk to this guy. We gave him a test, crushed it. And he's been killing it every single day.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's like one thing like AVG has, like AVG and everything that is under AVG has going for it. And it shows because there's so much love, like you said, like you can tell there's so much care. Like even the fans know, like our fans know that we share artwork with each other, you know, and it keeps it keeps that community going, you know.
Now, is there a place like you share it that the fans can see it, or is it just in between you guys?
It's in between us because, you know, we never want someone to feel disheartened if they don't get shared. We actually, for the longest, it was my idea. We had Alan and DJ. We had a community prompt for the YouTube channel where we'll pick a word. We'll be like, okay, spring, right? Everyone send in your fan art. Alan and DJ will look through it and we'll pick like the 5 that stand out and we'll like post it and share it on the channel, you know? Yeah. And it's like little things like that just, we know it makes the community feel good. That their heroes, Alan and DJ, are like seeing their work.
Yeah. No, that's a great thing. You know, it's, you know, first of all, to have bosses that basically say, I want you guys to, you know, and this is how I work with writers usually, you know. I you know, you have a skill set. I want your skill set to shine, and I trust you to do it to the best of your ability. you know, and to say that you have people who let them do it, you
Yeah.
know, instead of being like, it has to be this. Like when I work with a writer for a story of mine that I created, I just don't want to write it. I say, this is the outline of this, like the plot of the story. This has to be in there. I need these points to happen. How you get there is on you. And then I'll go in and I'll edit for them. And I'll be like, okay, you did very well. Like I have a comic that I'm hoping to draw next year. And it's a tribute to a bunch of sci-fi. Like it's a cartoony, humorous adventure, tribute to like Buck Rogers, Flash Gordon type of stuff. And I told my writer, I need you to do this, this, and this in there. And he hit every point until the end. And on the end, honestly, it's the only thing I asked him to change. I said, in the final battle, you did not make the hero the hero. You did something, and the way you did it, you made another character the hero of the story. I said, you need to go back and rewrite that so this character is the hero, and that's it. You know, and that was like out of an entire thing. And like when I would get my note, like the pages back, I was always excited to read them because number one, it was better than anything I could write in my eyes. But number two, I'm like, even though I knew the story, I was excited to see how they were putting it together.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I've been sitting on it now for about 8 years, but I've had to wait until I had a schedule and availability to draw it. And so it's on my schedule for 2026 to draw. This year is the manga, and I'm looking to bring my Plunger Pup character back. Yeah. So I'm that's what I'm doing. But next year is that sci-fi. But yeah, that's the thing. And I know I have a really good story because everyone I showed it to was amazed by it, by letting my writer do what he did best. And I think that is the smartest way a boss can be. And when you have a large team or even a small team, but doing things to keep community interaction together and bonding and things like that with those drawings that you were just, I think that is some of the smartest ways to keep a team motivated, keep them happy. You know, it's great.
Yeah, it's like we were literally talking about it before the call, where it's like, you know, every artist, like with how the industry is right now, you know, like with AI and stuff, like every artist should really be building that community that like loves them.
Yeah.
And that way it's easier for them to just go into their own stuff, and because they already have that audience, you know, they're not selling to no one. So that's what we're trying to do. You know, like Alan Becker has this huge community, and it's definitely, we definitely owe a lot of our success to that, in terms of like word of mouth of this game has been great. Everyone's been talking about it. And it's because of just who Alan is. It's how we've marketed it, and it's how much like our community loves these characters. Like our community loves these characters.
Yeah, like, no, I get it. I mean, you know, if it's what I'm remembering from the time you're talking about, like Animator versus whatever, I used to watch those things.
Yeah,
I used to watch them regularly, and I used to actually like study them.
Yeah.
The movement was so fluid. I used to show it in my classes. I don't know if I did it during your classes, but you know, when I was teaching Flash, I would show those to people and say, you don't need to know how to draw amazingly. You need to understand how to move.
Yeah.
And I would show the stick figure animations because they were so fluid and they worked so well. You know, I mean, it wasn't what I did usually I mean, you know me, I'm very Hanna-Barbera-ish. You know, it's, you know, you need Hanna-Barbera, you come to me. That's kind of what it is. And that's why I sold things, because my retro style, you know, was nostalgic for people.
Yeah.
And that's how I made money for a while. But yeah, it's this stuff is great. And I could see how, if you know, Alan continuing to. I didn't realize he continued to do this stuff, but
Yeah, a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
It's really funny until they see his work pop up again.
Yeah, I mean, well, for me, it's something I stopped teaching Flash. I wasn't animating. Um, my life was in doing other things. But if I was still doing it, it would have been something I regularly followed, and I know that because when I do something, I immerse myself in the world, and education is very important to me, and not because I was an educator, but because I like to have the knowledge on how to do things, and I do a lot of work myself, so I have to be my own fixer. If something goes wrong, I can't say, hey, call you up and say, can you fix this for me?
Yeah.
I need to be able, so I look at everybody and get my hands on everything I can. When I started doing, like more manga stuff, storytelling, I literally was like reading, I don't know, like 3-4 books a week, and then I would go back and pick up stuff I loved when I was younger and go reread what inspired me. But yeah, I look at my shelf over there, and I got tons of books, and I've always preferred to read than to watch like anime. I don't watch as much as I read, but yeah, I'm again, anyway, I was sidetracking, but I'm someone who immerses myself into worlds, so I learn everything I can and study everything I can. I think it's important.
That's how it should be. A lot of like, if you're a fan of something, you definitely should be studying it. Like there's no point in, like, a lot of the artists that, like, coming out here, I've met a lot of people, a lot of really, really talented people, and a lot of these people who are like out here doing these great things, they had these things that like inspired them, and that's been like what they've focused on. That's been their goal. That's been like their inspiration the entire time, and they never wavered from that. No matter what the industry was doing, no matter what their boss might be saying, like they had a thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's and that's the thing, and I mean, I'm listen, first of all, I'm just thrilled for you that you're able to do this, and I know I got it all up and running for you, and it's if without me as your teacher, no, I'm kidding, but seriously, no, I'm thrilled that you guys went out there. I'm so happy for you guys. I'm happy that you were able to, find this type of job. I listen, knowing you, I know this is the type of stuff you love, and you're doing what you love. So, and they say when you do that, you never work a day in your life.
It truly sometimes doesn't even feel like work, honestly.
Yeah.
And it's like, like producer gig, I never thought like that was a me thing, like I barely knew what a producer did.
And actually, speaking of that, though, and I'd love to hear more about what you were about to say, but can you tell us what a producer does for those who don't know?
So it's hard to say because it's like I wear just so many hats, but a producer is, their job is to make sure things run smoothly and to help it run smoothly if need be. So I've helped with hiring for some of these gigs. I've pretty much run the AVG channel. I'm pretty sure I said it before this call, but I'm my boss's boss. I messaged them like on the weekends. I was like, hey, this Tuesday, you guys need to record. And if they don't like it, sorry, we need videos on the channel, So,
exactly.
But yeah, I never thought that was something I could do because I never really thought about it. I guess like there's just always a place in the industry, honestly. And like with the comic, like I've helped with hiring. I am the assembler. I make sure that like from the line artists to the colors, I'm like, okay, the line artists did their work. I'm going to gather up all the pages because sometimes they're working on pages like individually, like on multiple files. I gather all it up, I send it out, and then we have another producer who comes in and they're like, okay, artist 1, you got panels these, and then artist 2, you got these panels. So it's a nice production line. And then for the game as a producer, it's like, again, just make sure everything's running smoothly. And because it's like I'm really like into games. Like games is definitely my interest. Like I give my creative input here and there,
Mhm.
and there are some ideas I've had that actually like made it through the final product. And there's may have teased it earlier. There's like one particular idea I've had that might make it to the final product that I'm really excited about. So
Oh, that's. I'm sorry. When I look down, I'm using my Cintiq as a monitor. I'm not ignoring you,
no,
so
no, of course, of
I'm
course.
looking at the artwork here. Um, yeah, no, I mean, listen, it's great. This sounds like an amazing, an amazing project. I'm wishing everybody on this team great success. I already know that your Kickstarter's happening. I already know that you are funded. I already know that you're going to be producing some great stuff. And this is for the whole team, you know. And I'm very happy you guys, because when I created this channel, the Get in Tune, not my YouTube channel, but Get in Tune, it was because it was during the pandemic. Shows were shutting down, and I missed talking with artists. And the first few shows was really about me and my friends getting together and talking comics, talking about the industry. And then it kind of turned into something else, you know? And my whole thing is about promoting indie creators. Now, I usually focus on comics because that's what I work in. But I will promote, if I see something good in indie music, indie gaming, indie whatever, I will try to get them on the show. It's important to me because, especially in a time like this that we're seeing in the industry,
Yeah.
where it's hard, I think people should start focusing on building their own brands. They should be, if they can get together with friends, if they could do it on their own, whatever. I mean, listen, if I had the income to hire people, I wouldn't be doing a lot of stuff, as much stuff as I'm doing. I would hire people, and I don't feel it's right, unless you're like, a college student or a high school student, to be bringing someone on for free, where I can say, hey, look, can I talk to a friend of mine? You're an amazing colorist. You want to color my comic for free? Like, I don't
Yeah.
feel that's right.
Yeah.
Um, so I won't ask, and that's why I'm a one-man show. And you know, this is the time now to starve for a year, or to do what you have to do, and then try to sell your product through crowdfunding. Sell it to, if it's a movie or a show, whatever. Sell it to Tubi, to Netflix, whatever you can,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, whoever's higher, whoever's looking, as long as you meet the requirements they need, you know, go and do that. You could turn yourself into a wealthy person in a year
Yeah.
or two,
Yeah.
just by busting your ass for a year,
Yeah.
you
And a
know.
lot of it, honestly, is also just like small steps. Like if someone wanted to
Yeah.
be like a comic book artist or like webtoon, like even you don't have to come out swinging with like 10, 20 episodes and like have this
Yeah.
crazy production quality. Like if you could just stick with like something consistent, like one panel a day, like
Mhm.
that would go so much further than most people who are like too afraid to even start, or
Yeah.
like too unsure as to like what to do.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. Like when I did The Wiz, I built up a fan base, and they are, hopefully the majority of them, they all, everyone was upset to see the strip go. Everyone was like, we're going to follow you on to your next project. So hopefully they all still follow me on to what I'm doing, you know. But yeah, that to me, that was more important than selling a bunch of, products
Yeah.
and sitting at shows and selling comics and whatever. I interacted with people. People would give me their opinions, or they would say, hey, can you send me a copy of this? And people would, I would send them a printable file if they sent me a few bucks. I'd be like, I can't give it away for free, but if you send me, I don't know, say $10, I'll send you a high res copy. And they had their own print,
Yeah.
and so that's the, that's the thing. I mean, I think now, going back to comics in the 90s, we had Image. There was an Image revolution. There was an indie revolution going on back there. This, I think, now, because of the way the industry is, the AI battle. We are going to see a new indie revolution, and you guys are part of it.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
I agree. I think like I follow the game industry very very closely, and it's like you have these AAA titles, big companies, producing like 7-digit, 8-digit uh dollar games, and they're coming out, they're so disconnected from what like players want, what gamers want, what people want. And you have these little small little nothing indie titles. You have games like have you ever heard of Power World?
Power World. I'd have to see it. I'm
Okay.
sometimes like, I mean, you know this about me. I'm bad with names. I'm better
Yeah,
visually.
I got you. So it's essentially just survival Pokemon. That's the best way
Okay.
to think about it. That game came out of nowhere. Absolutely, so it sold so well that Nintendo got jealous and tried to sue them. Because they just could not accept that there was this random, very small team came out, did great. Another game that's popping off this month is this game called Repo, another very small indie team, and they're killing it. They've been like top 10 best selling on Steam since release, which is like more than a month ago, you know? And an indie revolution is definitely it's happening, and we're going
Yeah.
to be a part of it for like years. And I think like games like Animation Versus, there's a couple fighting games out right now that are disconnected from fans, not doing the smartest, not making the smartest moves, not doing like things that people really want. And it's
Yeah.
like we're going to be one of the people to kind of like set the standard for what fighting games should be like from here on in.
Yeah, I really hope you guys are, because it looks great just from the gifs I'm seeing. You know, makes me want to play.
Oh, it's fun. I've seen non-gamers pick it up and they just love it. It's just it's so good, honestly.
It does look like a lot of fun. It does. I mean, there's a simplicity to it, but when you look at it, it's from an animation perspective, the the fluidity of the movements. It's you could tell there's a lot there. It's you know um I won't call it like the Cuphead of fighting games, but you know what I mean. Like
Yeah, I know.
they like
It's simple, but it's very animated. Of course, it's
yeah
animated, but it's animated in how it's animated. Like, and then these are just stick figures.
yeah
There's some games that like with 3D models can't look as fluid as this.
yeah
Like this is pretty much like all hand drawn animations.
yeah. I was gonna ask you because I didn't know how this was animated. You know, um, but yeah, no, it looks fantastic, man. We didn't go over the official tiers.
Okay.
And I just want people to know, because I forgot that isn't the lowest tier at 150. The lowest is at 30, and you get one copy of the
Mhm.
game. Now, obviously, it's these are all like digital copies. I'm sure you're not sending people out stuff, especially that it's on Steam. Uh,
Yeah.
um, and then 50 is a beta tester, so
Hmm. Early access, so you'll
early
have
act. That's
early
what I was gonna
access to the
say.
game.
Yeah. For 100, you're one of the chosen ones.
Hmm.
Um, Go ahead.
So
You tell
so
me
with
about that.
that one's kind of fun because we haven't shown him yet, but there is a black stick figure. It's kind of shaped just like the orange one in the gift that you're seeing in the middle,
Okay.
and his name is the Chosen One.
Okay.
And the gimmick with this tier is that if you get into this tier, you unlock a special color from most of the other cast that turns them black and gives their items like a color scheme that's similar to his.
Okay.
So that would be something that's like specifically for the Kickstarter. Like if you
Yeah.
back it, like, hey, you get to have red, but he's all black and has like cool, like a red headband or something like that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I like that. Then you got the lucky tier at 250.
Yes. So we're gonna sell physical pins, which is what you're seeing on the left. It's gonna have, well, we're getting to it in the what's it called? The Oh man, I forgot what it's called. The stretch goals. We're getting to it in the
Oh, okay.
stretch
Sorry.
goals. But in the interactive, we're gonna have an interactive online lobby. and we may have some elements of creating a stick or something like that in there. And those hats, that's where that would go. You could walk around with a fun little hat that are like nods to like different episodes of AVM, stuff that's specific to this game, and like just fun stuff. And we even have a tier later on that I believe lets you create your own hat.
Interesting. Okay, let's see. What do we got here? So we got the Allen backer.
Yes. So this has like everything you would need to like officially like support Alan if you wanted to be the ultimate Alan backer, play on his name, and you'll get like an exclusive mouse cursor themed color skin for all the characters, because Alan's mouse cursor in and of itself is its own character in a way. Like if you end up like seeing the animations, so a lot of people have like an affiliation or like attachment to like that mouse cursor. So we'll have everyone with like a white color scheme and like a black border, and it's just filled with like a bunch of like little goodies, like says like all the DLC. You'll have all the pins. We're gonna have a total of 6 of them, and then it will have an exclusive emote for all the characters and a exclusive lobby pet, which is again where that interactive lobby comes in.
And you got another Allen backer here. It's a different one.
So we had a different one because with everything going on with, unfortunately, like the tariffs and shipping to certain places, some tiers may not have the pins.
Okay.
So we had to make some exceptions, like for people who didn't want to, like who wanted to support these tiers, but they can't get the pins, because I believe Kickstarter doesn't allow you to fund something if a project technically doesn't ship to your country.
Okay.
So like you can see it here. Like I think if you like went above, like you see right now it says ships to only certain countries, but if you go above for the digital only tier, it doesn't even say that, because there's nothing to ship. It's 100% all digital.
Yeah.
And that was definitely something we kept in mind for all these tiers, because a lot of Kickstarters, not a lot, but we've seen a couple video game Kickstarters where it's like they overpromise on like physical stuff. Like, yeah, if you give this amount of money, you get this like cool hat, you get this cool shirt, oh, you get this cool plushie. And then for some reason or another, manufacturing issues happen or too much time passed, and then things changed. Like I personally have given $350 to this game, this Kickstarter project called Rainbow Six Siege, the board game, which is a board game based off of a really popular video game series. And when that Kickstarter finished, we were in the middle of pandemic. So they had to go on like a 1-year hiatus. And by the time they came back, they were pretty much like, yeah, everything went up price-wise, manufacturing-wise. You're going to have to give us more money or we can't ship you the product. Which is...
That's BS, man.
That is insane.
Yeah.
But we really didn't want... Obviously, it wouldn't have gone to that extreme. Like, no matter what, it would have came out of our pockets. We would have never asked people for more money. Absolutely. But we wanted to make sure everything we say we're going to give someone, we're going to give it to them. So that's why we like really hammered in like digital exclusive stuff and digital bonuses.
Oh, good. I like that, because I've heard that happen to other people, and I've never run a crowdfunding. I said I would never do it because I have really bad anxiety, and I'm like, for the next month I'm going to have to be freaking out every day. And I don't know. I'm like, I had heart surgery once. I don't need heart surgery again. And, but honestly, I think the more and more I talk to people about crowdfunding and what they're doing is, I think in the future I see a crowdfunding for me. But it's good to know. Like, I didn't know about what you just said about the shipping to, if you don't, you can't. So that's interesting here. Next, the limited tier.
Join the color gang. So one thing that's really popular for like any fan of Alan is like almost every fan has their own stick they're like, oh my god, I'm gonna make my own stick. It's this color. Maybe they have like this defining feature, like a strand, one spiky hair. Maybe they wear a hat. Maybe they have a monocle. Everyone in that community has a stick. So this was our way of letting those sticks be part of the game. And what we're planning on doing is, if anyone were to sign up with this tier, your stick will be part of the background. So like, for example, like in the city, like your stick could be like walking around the streets. They could be like sitting on an alley, you know, like just being close to the fighters. Like having your stick in the game would be obviously the reward for that tier, but it's something that we know a lot of people would want. You know, we had to have it at the price it is because obviously like putting a stick figure in there, even a stick figure like that, we have to pay artists. Like that takes time. Like, you know, especially since technically this is the second tier that we have for this. The first one sold out. So that's 132 sticks that our animators are gonna have to draw in the background.
That's this one here that got sold out.
No, it's all the way in the bottom.
Oh, okay,
all the way in the bottom.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, what this one is, honorary dev, is we know some people may not have sticks, and may just have characters. But they may have their own OCs. And what honorary dev is, it's a way for them to have their own characters in the background. Obviously, you get other bonuses that are fun, but like that's the main one that like we're really focusing on. You get a non-stick figure character in the background of the stage, because in the most recent AVA at the time of this, Alan had a video come out where essentially one of the sticks got teleported into new rounds. So you see all these non-stick characters running around like Tank Man and all these people, and they're all like running around there and they're trying to escape the villain.
Yeah.
So we're considering having like a stage kind of inspired by that, where you may have characters that are non-stick figures just there.
Nice. I like that. So what's the price on it? 1,200 to put a little dog with a plunger?
Yeah, if you'd want to.
If I had the cash, absolutely.
Yeah.
If I had the cash, I'd be paying people to do my work for me. But
so,
yeah,
so with this one, you also get, we plan on having like some kind of profile. Like a lot of fighting games do this thing where like you can have a profile and like customize it, like with an icon and profile banner, and there's like different stats that show up. We haven't 100% figured out, but we know we're gonna have something like that. So with this tier, you would get the character, and you'd also get like a banner that you would design. You would tell us like, what do you want on that banner, and it would be in the game. So for some reason you wanted a bunch of bananas that say going bananas or something like that, guess what? Now it's in the game.
Yeah, wow. I mean, listen, that is a great thing. I mean, I haven't even finished going through your tiers, and you are providing so much, you know, I mean, what would you call it? Customization for people? I mean,
yeah,
to really give them a specific experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
That's our main goal with these tiers, because we know like a lot of the people who love Alan, a lot of the people who would love games like this are creative people for the most part. Would have something that they're not just people who's like, yeah, I'm going to back this for the sake of backing this. They're like, oh my God, my stick figure, my character could be in the game. Like you'll see in a later tier, in a much later tier, that like people want to be a part of this community in some way. People want to have some say in this game, you know, and we found fun ways to like give it to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Here, let's see. So you had the 2,500. Now you have a launch party at 4,500.
Mm-hmm. That one just came out, I think, like a couple of days ago.
Well, I assume you've been adding more as you've been reaching stretch goals, and
yeah, we had a mini crisis at first because we were running out of tiers when it first went up. So, gotta come up with some new ones.
Now you have executive producer at 5,000.
Mm-hmm.
Is that higher than your producer title?
Yes, yes. Because I'm just a regular producer.
And then you got this one here, executive producer 2.
Same thing. We believe so. The original one sold out, but we do have a tier that's higher, and we believe that 2 people left the executive producer tier, the original one, and that's why it's back there. And they moved on to the higher one, which is the one that you're about to see right now.
This is the limited tier, the founder tier, 10 grand.
And we already have 4 people.
Wow.
Yeah, and what that's the main gimmick with this tier. It gives you everything in every other tier, but are you familiar with like a roguelite? What a roguelite mode is, or like roguelite games?
I've heard of it, but I'm not too familiar with it. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a gamer, so I don't.
I got you. Oh, hey, David.
David.
I see David Abrevea here.
Yeah.
Yeah, all was good, man. Yeah. So roguelite mode, I don't know if you ever played it, but it's like one of those games where like you go into it, you get upgrades, you're building your character, then you die. And then you got to start all the way from the beginning. You know, maybe you're able to like put some points into a shop and then get slightly stronger, and then you just go back at it again until you eventually don't die, you make it to the end.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a mode that's in this game. And with this tier, we're going to have it so you get to create a character that directly impacts the roguelite mode. You know, so whether it's like a shopkeeper that's like giving the sticks items, like, hey, yeah, take these bandages. It's going to make you heal every time you deal damage. Or you can be a healer. You can be a cursed relic giver who's like, yeah, you take this item, you deal twice as much damage, but you also take twice as much damage, you know. And our goal with this tier is to give people that creative liberty, and we say it right there, like, hey, first come, first serve. You tell us what you want your guy to do, you know, and you can directly like be a part of like the overall experience, not just a background character, not just someone sitting on the sidelines. Like your character is a part of like the game.
That's really cool. This sounds so fun. And then this is the early bird stuff. And
yeah, so these are all stuff that are either no longer available or have sold out.
I think, was this the one you were talking about? Join the color gang?
Mm-hmm. We sold out of that one so quickly.
Yeah, because you said you had 130 to do, and I'm like, the only other one has 30, and now this is where you sold the 100. That's amazing.
100 and as of now, 132 stick figures.
Wow.
So that's a lot, but it's gonna be fun. And it's like I think back to like even the reason why we do like the art prop for AVG. It's like at the end of the day, like our community just loves this kind of stuff and they love being a part of it. So I know those 132 people, every single one of them are going to see their stick in the background and they're going to lose it. Because as far as they're concerned, and they are, you know, like they're part of Alan's universe now. You know, their stick is part of the game. You know, they're in their hero's game, which even like someone who didn't grow up on AVA and Alan's animations, like that's cool. Like if I had the money for it, I'd be throwing my money towards this because that's like really, really cool.
Yeah. No, it totally is. It's I mean, you know, I'm just looking at this stuff and the creativity, the simplicity of a stick figure, but all the different stuff that you're doing with it to make them stand out. Where the hell's my mouse? There it is. To make them different. It works. And you would think there's very limited possibilities you could do, but you know, you're able to really change it up and come up with a lot of different things there.
Yeah, even if it doesn't have sound, feel free to have that video playing, because it's like I remember when they were working on it. One thing Alan is really, really good at doing, and like his team, his characters for just simply being stick figures, they're so full of expressions and like emotion.
Yeah,
like they all act differently. They all have personalities. Like you don't have to guess what kind of person they are.
I had to turn the sound off for me because otherwise I hear it if we're talking.
I got you. So So yeah, this was done by Muno. This part of it was done by Muno and Bar. And they're just excited to be there.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just going to make it larger for everyone. This looks so good.
And that's the thing too that's so cool about this project is like we are so early in it for what we have planned, and it already from where it's at right now already feels, it almost feels finished, honestly. Like it feels like a finished game if you were to like pick up and play it, which goes to show just how much like love and care was put into it.
Yeah, it's
And then this is where Alan, that's his little mouse cursor.
yeah.
Alan, DJ, and Muno end up talking about the game, and you're seeing like snippets of his animations right now.
Yeah.
And that was the original mod made by Muno.
Wow. This is pretty cool.
And I think this game, alongside like me, like as a case study, I think it's a good example of like if you're passionate about something, just do it and like put your work out there. Because I got discovered by DJ just by being a huge nerd on games. You know, like Muna got discovered for making a mod. You know, like the artists that we hired for this project, they got discovered by doing fan art. You know, and like if none of us did any of that, if like any of us weren't unapologetically us,
Yeah,
none of that would have happened.
Yeah. Well, I'm really thrilled you guys were able to. Sorry, I'm just trying to find where my mouse is now. Oh, screen. There we go. Let me escape out. There we go. But yeah, no, listen, I am so, like I said, I'm so thrilled for you. You got to be able to be part of this. And that, like you said, you have a team that seems to really get each other, you know, really understand what it is that makes a great game and knows how to work together to make something really amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, truly. And I'm very thankful to not only be part of one team that's like that, but three, realistically. Like between the game, the comic, the main channel, because you know that I haven't spoken about it much, but the channel Animators versus Game, that's its own team too. You know, and it's like every team we have right now is just filled with creative people who some of them we gave chances and they're like crushing it, you know. So
yeah, you got a hello from Isabella Rivera.
Izzy. That's an old co-worker of mine.
Nice. So yeah, I don't think I have much else to ask right now, but I mean, you just mentioned the channel animation. It's Animators
versus Games.
Animators versus Games, and that's on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any other places they can find Animator versus Games, or just you in general?
If you're looking for Animators versus Games, nothing better than the channel and the Kickstarter, or even Alan Becker's main channel. Great animations, honestly, and even like Animators versus Games, like DJ and Alan's they're such good personalities. I've appeared on like a bunch of their videos. There was a point in time where because of the Cali fires, actually, like DJ had to go on a little hiatus because his house was like in the affected area. So we just decided, me and our main editor Skim, we ended up taking over the channel and we just played like a bunch of Sonic games. But it was a good fun time. If anyone's looking for me personally, I did have a YouTube channel. I'm not really active on it, unfortunately. It's called Charlie Chats and Games, and If anything, you follow me on my main Instagram channel, which is charliev_arts. And those would probably be the best places to reach out for me.
Awesome. Well, then, I think we should wrap up. I want to thank you for coming on. Thank you for, sharing all this. I'm glad we got to share all this with my audience here. And, anytime you have a project that you think you want to chat about, let me know. We'll come back on the show. Maybe you can bring some of the other guys on.
Yeah.
Maybe when the comic is ready to come out, I'd love to talk about that. I'm gonna I geek out over comics anyway. But yeah. So
thank you for having me. Like, truly, honestly.
Yeah, anytime. Is there anything you want to say before I let you go?
Yeah, for anyone watching, check out the Kickstarter. If you haven't, check out Animators versus Games. Check out, everything that we're working on. We're working on some, can't stress it enough, some really cool stuff, some real, industry changing stuff. None of our stuff's AI. It's all real, so.
Yeah, that's good. All right, then can you hang out backstage for a minute?
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm going to drop you backstage and just do my closing, and then I'll talk to you in a little bit.
Bye. See you guys.
All right, guys. So that was Charlie, Animators versus Games. The links to the Kickstarter are in the comments. Or you can just go to Animators versus Games on Kickstarter, YouTube, check it all out. CharlieV_arts to find Charlie on Instagram. And tonight is, today's Tuesday, so today was a special show. I'm going to be back tomorrow night with my regular, show hours, 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to have Randy Ronaldo, who does the Rob Haynes comic, which is fantastic. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to read that, but oh my God, is it fun. I can't even describe it. It's like Alex Toth meets Will Eisner meets Archie in a way, with a little bit of some Richie Rich meets Terry and the Pirates and just old school class. It's so good. Tune in tomorrow when I chat with him. And yeah, I got a lot of great stuff planned for the rest of August. So with that, guys, I will see you next week. Don't forget to, I don't know what I did with the book, but go out and get your Whimsical Whiz, your akidinacomic.com, right? Oh, there's the book. It was underneath A Kid in a Comic. So the Whimsical Whiz on Amazon. New book coming out this year. And don't forget Zorro's Sword Playing Romance or Zorro's Exploits, which I got to illustrate in. All this on Amazon. This is on akidinacomic.com. With that, I will see you all tomorrow night. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.